Bitcoin is a true monetary revolution that reached a decisive milestone in 2020. The coronavirus pandemic has triggered an economic crisis of a magnitude not seen in decades. To combat the effects of this economic crisis, the governments and central bankers of the world's major economic powers have taken action on a phenomenal scale. The aggressive monetary policies of these central bankers have unleashed great monetary inflation for which the vast majority of citizens will have to pay a heavy price in the years to come. To hedge against this great monetary inflation, more and more people have understood that Bitcoin was the best solution available to the greatest number. Big names in investment, such as Paul Tudor Jones or Stanley Druckenmiller, have quickly embraced Bitcoin. Following this example, institutional investors then began to come en masse to buy Bitcoin. Large companies also made this choice to protect their cash reserves. PayPal decided to come into the world of Bitcoin as well. All this shows how much the mentality around Bitcoin has changed in a few months. Bitcoin reached a decisive milestone in 2020. You can be sure that the Bitcoin revolution will not go back in 2021. Things will continue to accelerate in the years to come. Bitcoin has passed the point of no return now. In a few years, the coronavirus pandemic will probably be recalled as the tipping point for Bitcoin. The end of the year 2020 saw Bitcoin price soar thanks to a phenomenal bullish rally that is still not over, no matter how much time the Bitcoin bears are wasting chasing the top of this bull run, at the risk of losing a lot of money. Worse still, they could end up missing out on the Bitcoin revolution. Bitcoin has gone from $10.5 thousand to $39,000 in just a few weeks. Even better, the Bitcoin price could soon reach $40,000 at the current rate of progress. All this would be normal in my opinion since Bitcoin remains the most undervalued asset relative to its fundamentals. If you don't own Bitcoin, you need to quickly ask yourself the right questions. If you still don't own Bitcoin, you need to start asking yourself if you missed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I feel like saying it's time you asked yourself that question. Bitcoin is indeed a unique opportunity that will change your life on all levels. More than just making you finally rich, Bitcoin will give you power over your money. Once you have that power, you will be in total control. You will be able to live your life on your own terms. You will no longer have to spend your hard-earned money, or it will slowly but inevitably lose value over time. The good news in this Bitcoin price spike is that buying Bitcoin is now far less risky than it was a few years ago when it was under $100. Back then, Bitcoin had everything to prove. Bitcoin had to prove that it was capable of securing large amounts of money over a significant period of time. Bitcoin's programmatic monetary policy had to show in practice its positive effects described in theory. The risk of a collapse of the Bitcoin network was very real at the time. Buying Bitcoin today is a no-brainer, with more than low risk. Now that the Bitcoin price has surpassed $30,000 and more institutional investors have come to buy Bitcoin, you can rest assured that the Bitcoin revolution will continue in the years to come. These institutional investors are not coming to inject billions of dollars at random. Michael J. Saylor did not fall on his head when he decided to buy $1.125 billion worth of Bitcoin with his company MicroStrategy. All of these people understood that Bitcoin would change the world of the future when it comes to money. Buying Bitcoin today is a no-brainer. As an individual, you need to take advantage of Bitcoin's divisibility. Bitcoin is divisible up to 8 digits after the decimal point. You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can purchase portions of Bitcoin to ensure that you don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. By buying Bitcoin in early 2021, you will still be one of the early adopters who will benefit the most from the price increase that Bitcoin will experience in the years to come. To give you an idea, my feeling for the Bitcoin price in the coming years is the following. At least $100,000 by the end of 2021. Between $400,000 and $500,000 by 2030. $1 million by 2040. No guarantees as always, but a feeling that more and more people share. Bitcoin price is near $40,000 while a tiny minority of people understand the incredible power of Bitcoin. Bitcoin would have exceeded 100 million users by September 2020 according to several estimates. The number of inhabitants on Earth is 7.8 billion. This means that only 1.2% of the world's population uses Bitcoin at best. The real figure is probably even below 1%. Bitcoin will soon reach a price of $40,000 while only 1% of the world's population uses Bitcoin. And yet, how many people actually understand the incredible power of Bitcoin? Far fewer. Imagine what will happen when all these people begin to understand that Bitcoin is the future of the world when it comes to money. The adoption of Bitcoin will simply explode. This means that the demand for Bitcoin is going to skyrocket. While this demand will skyrocket, the maximum supply of Bitcoin will remain hard capped at 21 million units no matter what happens. Besides, the issuance of new Bitcoins will continue to slow down every 4 years as foreseen by Bitcoin's programmatic monetary policy. If you stick to the principles that govern the law of supply and demand, you know what this means: the price of Bitcoin can only increase exponentially in the years to come. Final thoughts. Luckily, you are discovering Bitcoin today when its price is only around $40,000. You have everything you need to take your destiny into your own hands. The first thing to do is to understand why Bitcoin was created, and how it responds to the flaws of the current monetary and financial system. Then, you will quickly understand that buying Bitcoin is your only hope for protecting your future regarding money. Its revolution is only just beginning, and you have everything you need to be among those who will benefit the most from it. It's up to you to make the right choice. In a few months, the opportunity will be much less interesting. It's up to you to decide. For example, to give you an idea, a $1,000 purchasing power in 1971 doesn't even represent a $150 purchasing power in 2020. So, someone who saved that $1,000 in 1971 in a bank account would end up with the same amount in US dollars, but with a purchasing power reduced by more than 85%. If you wanted to keep the same purchasing power from your 1971 $1,000, you should have found an investment that would have allowed you to turn it into $6,425. This is largely feasible for the richest people who have access to a whole bunch of investments, but for the poorest people, it's something extremely difficult. The current monetary and financial system suffers from original sin, from which 7 deadly sins arise that will lead to its loss sooner or later. The central bankers can print as much fiat money as they want. The amount of US dollars in circulation never stops increasing over time. Thus, between 2010 and 2020, the circulating money supply of the US dollar, the famous M2 money stock, increased from $8,432 billion to $19,226 billion, an increase of plus 128%. This endless monetary inflation of the US dollar, and other fiat currencies, has catastrophic effects on the value of your money. For example, the purchasing power of $1,000 in 2010 is only $824 in 2020. Some people have difficulty understanding the problems induced by this great monetary inflation that we are experiencing. They tell themselves the following: I had $1,000 in my bank account in 2010. I still have $1,000 in 2020. So I haven't lost anything. This simplistic reasoning is the one that the education system unfortunately instills in you. Everything is done to make you not understand that the current system is flawed and not fixable. Saving in the current system makes you lose money. If you still have $1,000 in your bank account in 2020, that $1,000 does not give you the same purchasing power for a simple reason. In 2010, you had $1,000 while the M2 money stock was $8,432 billion. In 2020, you still own $1,000, but the M2 money stock is $19,226 billion. The decisions of a few central bankers, who are unrepresentative of the people, are slowly but surely impoverishing the majority. Under these conditions, everyone advises you to never keep more money than your emergency fund. Warren Buffett frequently repeats the following: cash is trash. This is true in the current system. Here I will tell you about a brand new savings technology that brings about a complete paradigm shift from the fiat system. With this savings technology, you will be able to save if you want to. This savings technology is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the best savings technology. If you are reading this article, I am sure you have already heard of Bitcoin. You have probably even become a Bitcoiner by reading my articles. It would be an incredibly positive thing for me to know that I have been able to allow some people to fully open their eyes to Bitcoin. Nevertheless, I will continue my demonstration thinking about helping as many people as possible as always. Bitcoin has a first essential difference from the US dollar: it exists in limited quantity. There will never be more than 21 million BTC. The Bitcoin system is decentralized and has no leader. Anyone can become a node of the Bitcoin network, and it is precisely the nodes of the network that guarantee the monetary rules of Bitcoin. Its programmatic monetary policy abstracts you from the arbitrary side of human decisions, but also from the corruption inherent in human beings. If you had bought 1 Bitcoin in 2010 and then kept it, you would still have 1 Bitcoin in your possession in 2020. Many people tell me that it is the same as with the US dollar. Well, it's not. Indeed, in 2010, you had 1 Bitcoin out of 21 million BTC. In 2020, you still have 1 Bitcoin out of 21 million BTC. Bitcoin protects your purchasing power. Bitcoin is clearly the best savings technology ever created. Bitcoin allows you to save money by protecting your wealth. The scarcity of Bitcoin is to be contrasted with the endless monetary inflation of the US dollar. De facto, Bitcoin continues to appreciate against the US dollar. In 2010, when Bitcoin was first quoted in US dollars on trading platforms, its price was barely 6 cents. The Bitcoin price has been rising since then. On December 27, 2020, as I write this article, the Bitcoin price is $27,355. This represents an increase of plus 45,600,000%. With Bitcoin, everything you've learned about managing your personal finances should be reviewed. Bitcoin is a total paradigm shift, as I have already told you. If saving your money is not a good idea with the current monetary and financial system, with Bitcoin, it's an excellent idea. Bitcoin protects you from the ravages of monetary inflation of fiat currencies. By exchanging your US dollars for Bitcoin, you can opt for low time preference. You can take control of your life, and live your life on your own terms. The next time you read an article from a personal finance guru who tells you that saving your money is a mistake, you'll know what to say to him or her in a commentary from now on. Saving can be a great thing, but only if you do it by buying Bitcoin. The Bitcoin revolution is underway.